okay to decline. Thank you very much. Chris Little.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can I thank the people, and particularly the children and young people of Northern Ireland, who have complied with profoundly challenging restrictions throughout this pandemic, and for whom this will be positive news today. Can I particularly welcome the return to sport, and can I ask if that return to squad training will see any limit on the numbers for squad training? And in relation to indoor group exercise scheduled to return on May 24th, has any consideration been given to earlier reopening of non-aerobic socially distanced group exercise such as yoga, Pilates and children's gymnastics?
Thanks for the question. In terms of the numbers for sport, I think the numbers should not exceed 100, so that includes everybody who's necessary. They're asking that you only include people who are necessary as part of being able to have the games, and spectators are still not permitted at this stage. On the issue of more indoor sport, and this is again something that I think probably a lot of us are lobbied on in terms of group exercise or even like dance classes and things like that indoors. It's the view of the health team, both Chief Medical Officer and Scientific Advisor, that those things are still too risky, so that's why the date of the 24th of May has been allocated to that area. Like everything, we constantly look at all these things, and we'll continue to do so throughout this, but at this stage that's where it sits, the 24th.
Supplementary, Chris Little.
Thank the Deputy First Minister for the response and the confirmation of the number not exceeding 100 for competitive games. The question is also in relation to squad training, whether there be any limit on those numbers. Hopefully that will be in line with a suitable number required, given that the limitations on number at this moment in time. Can I ask in relation to weddings, if it's possible to be clear with regards to the number of guests that people celebrating their weddings might be able to have at the reception after May 24th?
Again, that will depend on the size of the venue that they're having their wedding reception at. Obviously, some venues are very large, and so you'll be able to have larger weddings, but if the venue is quite small, then it will have to be a risk assessment carried out to see how that can be achieved. In terms of the squad piece, I think it is fair to say that, as the Deputy First Minister says, it should not exceed 100, but it should be kept to a minimum as what is required for that particular sport. And I think it's fair to say that each of the different codes will have advice and guidance out in relation to that to each of their various clubs around Northern Ireland.
I call Paul Given.
Mr. Speaker, can I welcome today's statement? It is progress that's being made, and I want to commend my right honourable friend, the First Minister, and her DUP ministerial colleagues, without whom I believe we wouldn't have made the same progress today, and I'm sure we could have made further progress as well if left to ourselves. In respect to some of these restrictions, the aspect around travel that is being raised with me is that currently you need to have an essential reason to go to Great Britain. Is that being removed so that non-essential travel into Great Britain will be allowed, as well as then the removal of the requirement to then quarantine?
So this is the very important issue that we've been talking about in terms of the common travel area, that there's a need to look at that guidance. He's absolutely right. It's for work purposes at the moment that you can travel to Great Britain and not have to quarantine. So it is important that that is looked upon, because there's a lot of us that have friends and family in Great Britain and will want to travel there to see them, and at the moment we can't do that under the current guidance. So I think it is fair to say this is going to be something that we will be looking at in the near future. At the moment, as you know, we have moved from stay at home to stay local, so in terms of in Northern Ireland, that is what the guidance says, but I would hope that we can move to look at that whole common travel area piece within the next number of weeks.
Supplementary, Paul Given.
Thank you, and can I thank the Right Honourable First Minister for that response. One of the areas raised even today at the Justice Committee in terms of impact on the courts and this is something that hospitality has raised, that ultimately the 2-metre social distancing rule is the only way in which we will see the right kind of transformation to tackle that problem and a return to not having that requirement in place. So the Deputy First Minister indicated that without a perfect track and trace system, it was inevitable, and she can correct me if I'm wrong, that we would go back into another lockdown scenario.